Good morning, Raptor Freak, Alexiots, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, because Rogers got their stuff together today, unlike yesterday. Yesterday was a nightmare for Canada in all kinds of different ways. It's amazing just how much no Rogers internet affects everyday life. It causes Raptor Freak channel not to happen. It causes people not to be able to buy things with debit. It causes so many ripple effects across society. And this was crazy what happened yesterday. Like, in fact, when a Rogers outage happens like this hurts the police. Like, they're not able to do their job completely in different ways, also. So, very interesting thing that happened yesterday. And if anything, we learned monopolies are not good. That we need a diversification of services among many companies, so that if one gets knocked out, like this baby formula thing in the US, there aren't huge supply and demand problems like there was yesterday. Oh my gosh, Tom Duke, boom 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 boom. He's got a flapjacks. He's got a waffle. He got the maple syrup and the oil drum, and he is ready to pour it on thick because the Raptors are playing today in summer league action against the Philadelphia 76ers at 3:30 this afternoon Eastern time. I hope people will tune in and watch it. Like, I am so excited to see this young Raptor team, and we're playing a Philadelphia team that's actually quite good. Like I said yesterday, this team for Philadelphia in the Summer League is full of second year and third year players, guys who've been in the league quite a bit already, played in the G League, and have a lot of experience. So we're not going to be as experienced a team in our Summer League team against Philadelphia, with team players like Paul Reed, Jaden Springer, Charles Bassey, Cassius Winston. They got some good players that are on the Philadelphia team. So it's going to be a fun game. G saying apparently Masai is meeting the Nets GM. Well, this is common actually when they're in Vegas. Like, a lot of what they've done in the free agency and the trade talk period is over the phone, is, through the hello, how are you? But now when everybody's actually in Vegas for Summer League, and let me tell you, everybody's in Vegas for Summer League, like everybody. In fact, I think the Raptors had a jet yesterday that went over there, and it had like Gary and Scotty and Chris and Masai and Bobby. The whole contingency went over there probably all together on the same jet. But yeah, Precious posting on Instagram that he's there too. And if they're all going to be there in person, why wouldn't they meet in person? So I wouldn't read too much into this. Obviously, if they're in person and there's still ongoing negotiations, that maybe something will happen because they're in face to face or something like that. But that's really what it is. G, it's just that everybody's in LA. I mean, in Vegas, and the same kind of things happening with the Lakers GM and stuff like that. Rob Pelinka is going to sit down with Sean Marks also, because he's out there. And then they're saying that the Russell Westbrook Kyrie Irving trade will get kind of figured out more easily face to face. Now, King Bolton once again has posted something in today's Share the Love Club, Gary Trent. And we got to talk about King Bolton, Gary's best friend, Jordan Bolton. He has posted that he said, seeing that something where the Lakers are saying they're going to figure out this Westbrook Kyrie thing by July the 17th. So that is what, and over a week and a day. So we'll have to see if that gets sorted out and where we're going to be at with possibly sorting things out with the Kevin Durant trade. Now, I'm not holding my breath either way. And honestly, I kind of just want to keep going on this direction. But you do have to take that opportunity if you have a player of the caliber of Kevin Durant and it's possible to acquire him. So you got to figure it out. Tom Duke saying easier to deal face to face. It really is. And honestly, when GMs are dealing face to face, that's when I bet you Masai is even more badass. Like, he has a certain aura to him. He has a kind of like what do you call it? It's kind of like an unspoken charisma. And, if you get him in a room and he's looking at you and he doesn't look so happy and stuff like that, and he's doing things like in the real time, face to face with somebody, yeah, he may have some more power. Honestly, like, I would think that him in person negotiating with him is not as easy as maybe doing it over the phone. So it'll be very interesting to see what comes of this. Maybe some deals actually get worked out because it is face to face now. G saying Gary had around 5 games, forget exact number, in a row with 30 plus points. His potential is crazy. Thank you, G. Yes, Let's share the love for Gary Trent Jr., who on the end of the season, in his last interview on the season coming out, he said that he loved how Scotty was hugging everybody because he's sharing the love. And that this is part of what Scotty's all about, is sharing the love. And that there should be more of that. And that's what we're doing today. And G is talking about how Gary Trent Jr. had a streak of a bunch of 30 plus games in the season. Remember that? He was going for the record that DeMar DeRozan holds. And we were playing Chicago, and he was going to break the record of that game if he had gotten another 30-point game. But he did not get that game, and he did not break the record. So he's tied with DeMar for the record for most 30-point games in a row as a Toronto Raptor. These are little unspoken kind of things about Gary that we don't celebrate enough. That there are things about him that are absolutely insanely good. And that if he's still in a Raptor jersey next season, the season coming up, then that's fantastic. We should be very, very happy to have him on our team. And I honestly, in some ways, don't want to make a deal. I'm with Monique. Monique is like, I don't care about Kevin Durant at this point. That we should just like not take the fast track. That we shouldn't take the shortcut. That sometimes the shortcut is mired with unforeseen speed bumps and problems, and that we're already working towards something good with what we're doing, and that we don't need to do a Kevin Durant fast track. And that, it's kind of annoying. I'd much rather have Gary in some ways on my team. In some ways, I know that sounds crazy, but in some ways, I think it's true. Good morning to you, Monique. So happy to see your name here as usual. Jan, good morning to Jan. Every morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless Rogers is messing up, Jan. And I'll be here tomorrow at 9:30, and we'll talk more about that game that you're talking about. You're excited. I know I'm excited too. Let's get it. Let's go, because the Raptors are playing today, yo. Yes, I love it, Jan. It's so good. Joseph Starks, good to see you again. Once again this week. It's a good streak of you this week. Masai must be with Rogers. I don't know who's with what, but actually the Raptors organization is most like, I think they're with both telecommunication giants, Bell and Rogers, because honestly, they both own part of the Raptors. That's part of the MLSE ownership, is that it's like half Bell's, half Rogers, and then the in between percentage is Larry Tannenbaum. And that's how the ownership structure of the Raptors is. So maybe in their buildings, they have half Rogers internet and half Bell internet, and that Bell half was okay. And that's how they're smart about dealing with any kind of outage of internet, like what happened yesterday in Canada is crazy. But I think they're with both, honestly, because like we have both sponsorships, Rogers and Bell. So Seymour saying, let's go Raptors. Let's get this win against the Sixers. Just digging into some stampede breakfast, pancakes, maple syrup, turkey, bacon, hash browns. Oh my gosh, Seymour Pape, you're killing me. I haven't had my breakfast yet today. And I know you're in Calgary right now at the Stampede, and that's what he's talking about. He's having that Stampede breakfast to get ready to go to the rodeo and see the great stuff in Calgary. I'm so happy that you're getting to have such a great time out there right now, Seymour. That's badass. And yeah, let's get that maple syrup out and let's start pouring it on real thick today on the Sixers. Get a nice, good 20-point lead and beat their ass. That's what I'm all about. Monique saying, Ron Harper Jr., eager to play for us. Interview was great. Yeah, there's been a lot of good interviews in the last couple of days. I feel like all messed up because I didn't get to do my stream as regular yesterday because there was stuff I wanted to talk about from Thursday, like Chris Boucher signing his press conference, coming in and signing the press conference. Some really cool stuff said in that. And then there's been interviews with different people like Fab, the new assistant coach with the Raptors, and the players like Ron Harper Jr., Justin Champagny, David Johnson. Nick Nurse did an interview in the last day or so also at Summer League. All really interesting stuff. And we can go over any of that stuff. I'll bring it up as I think of what they were saying and stuff like that. Joe Stark's saying that's why he's meeting with the Nets in person. His phone don't work. Man, it was messed up yesterday. I'm not even gonna lie. The outage really did mess up this country for a bit. It was really messed up. Like Toronto was crazy yesterday. You couldn't get an Uber, and if you could get an Uber, the Ubers were like $200. It's crazy. Tom Duke is saying, "Sounds delicious, Seymour. Breakfast for everyone. Share the love and pancakes." Yes, Tom Duke. Tom Duke's even further out, and he's probably already having breakfast too. I'm not having breakfast until I'm done streaming, so it is what it is. is. It keeps me hungry. So yeah, speaking about those interviews from the last couple of days, Nick Nurse, very interesting what he said, because he's not coaching summer league. He's just there to observe. He's just there to see things. He said a couple of things. He said he's there to watch Trevor Gleason coach and to make sure that Trevor Gleason is coaching the Raptors philosophy, that he understands that Trevor Gleason is an acclaimed, storied like coach who has a long history of coaching already and a lot of success, championships in Australia. But he wants to make sure that Trevor Gleason is running his coaching schemes for the Raptors on this level in the summer league with Raptors philosophies, with the way that we run our basketball team in the Raptors brand. So he's kind of analyzing Trevor Gleason for that during the summer league, is what he said. And then the other thing he was saying about to the players, his advice to the players for how to make the team and get a little niche on the team, is to go heavy on your strength. Like really go into what you do well and really showcase it. That you don't have to be completely good at everything like some of our really good players are. But if you're like Justin Champagnie and you're really, really good at offensive rebounding, focus on that. Just go do it, like beat them over the head with it and really show that you are really excelling in that area. Because in some ways, what Nick is looking for in summer league starting today is players excelling and showing little toolbox tricks as role players off the bench that he can use for the team this season. That if somebody like Alex Barcelo comes out and he's a dead eye and he shows really, really good 3-point shooting or really good astute shooting and consistently making it, then that could be like a trade. They said, wow, he's making his shots. This is something we need on the main roster. And that's how they make the team and stuff like that. So this is what Nick said. And this is what these young guys need to look at. You know, because they went over a couple of them, talking about what Justin should do, what David Johnson should do, you know, what he expects from Koloko, things like that. And it's exciting. Nick, you can tell, is really excited with the new blood, the new players coming into the team. And that it's more of what the Raptors really like is long-armed, positionless players that are versatile, that can do a whole lot of everything and stuff like that. So I'm really excited about it. Let's see. Rahul's here. Good morning, Rahul. How confident are you that the Raptors will get KD? I'm not. I'm not confident about this. I think that you know, listen, the Nets are in trouble. The Nets are in big, big trouble. That today, the Ayton could sign with Indiana straight up, and that'll take Phoenix completely off the table for the most part as a good trade partner for Brooklyn, because Ayton was the best piece in a lot of ways to go back to Brooklyn in a deal. And Ayton's kind of like saying, screw you, Phoenix. I don't have to help you out and do a sign and trade to help you get Kevin Durant. He's like, I can just straight up walk and go straight to Indiana, and I don't have to do nothing with you anymore, Phoenix, because legally he can do this. That they made him an unrestricted free agent. That means he is a free man to do whatever he wants. And if he puts pen to paper today with the Indiana Pacers, that's going to throw a huge, huge, huge problem into a whole Brooklyn Phoenix trade for Kevin Durant. And that will mean that we have even more power and leverage in discussions with Brooklyn for trying to get him. That whatever we're offering right now towards them may change and get worse for them as the landscape of who's available and still able to trade realistically with Brooklyn to try and get Durant out of there. So in some ways, our chances are getting better, Rahul. And I would also say that we can probably start even lowballing them even further. So if Masai and Bobby are really smart, they're going to rip off Brooklyn before the end of this is done. And we're going to see it. And we're all going to be like, wow, we got him for that. But once again, this is part of our power in our position, is that we don't have to do jack shit. We don't have to bail anybody out. They're the ones who are in trouble. They're the ones who want these things to happen. And we don't have to do nothing. We have a path that we've already set forward in front of us that we are happy to just walk along. And that we don't have to take a curve and say, well, we'll get Kevin just to do whatever. There's so much power in that. And this is something the NBA media in the US doesn't want to admit, is that the Raptors are the power player in the whole Brooklyn KD trade talks. Out of everybody in the league, we have the most power in this. And I love it. And having a guy who's really astute and smart like Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster in charge, that we know we're going to fleece them. That if KD is coming in Toronto, we're going to fleece them, Rahul. We will. Oh, yeah. But I'm not totally confident it's going to happen. In some ways, maybe Brooklyn will call our bluff, or they'll just say, you know what, we can't do this for this little, and they'll eat it, and they'll keep Kevin. They may keep Kevin and move Kyrie, and Kyrie may be gone, and then it's just Kevin there by himself with Ben Simmons, which is something he's not too thrilled about. Let's just put it that way. Uh, Seymour saying at Tom Duke, it's free breakfast almost everywhere here in Calgary. Got 3 more days. I'm living my best life. Right on, Seymour Pape. I'm so happy to hear people having such a good time on the stream. And that is awesome. I hope you enjoy it. I've never been to the Calgary Stampede, but I've always heard good things about it and how much fun it is and different things like that. So very cool. Very, very cool. Monique saying, how much points did Coloco have tonight, you think? All right. Monique, with Coloco, I'm not going to be really looking at his points. Like, he's the kind of guy that when we see him score, that's going to be great. And we could build off of that. But the thing at the very beginning with him in the Raptors jersey that I want to see is his rim protection, is how well he gets up and down the court. And is he going to rebound and play really good, solid positional defense? Like, is this man going to have a body that can stop other big bodies in the league from getting near the basket? Like Chet Holmgren don't have that. But we want to see Christian Coloco be able to be a wall and be some sort of strength in holding guys out of the block down low on defense. So I'm not even watching him for offensive stuff today. I don't care if he even scores. All I'm watching him today for is positional defense, rebounding, and shot blocking. And also how fast he gets up and down the court. I want to see if he's mobile and quick up and down the court enough for the NBA. So, you know what? If he scores over 10 points today, that's fantastic. But I don't expect him to. I think he may only score like 8 points tonight, something like that. Somewhere around there is what I'm going to say, Monique. Good morning, Shane Waters. GTJ is a serious all-around player. Man needs to be in a Raptors jersey. Raps setting themselves up for a dynasty run if they stay the course. No trades necessary, period. See, Shane Waters is with this too. Stay the course. Stay the way we've been building. Stay the plan, the master plan that we've been on already. That, Gary's so happy here. Why do we want to do this to him? He was depressed in Portland. His father played here in Toronto. He loves it here. He loves his teammates. His city is a great city for him as far as being a fashion plate and just being a cool icon and stuff like that. It's like I understand that, like I've said in the past couple of weeks about him, he's kind of like a house where you buy a house and you flip it. You fix it up real nice, and then you sell it for a profit. And in some ways, he kind of is like that as a player. But also, there's a heart, there's a human, there's a person there. And then, his name being bandied around so much this week, like OG's, has been hurtful to him, I'm sure, in different ways, because he feels like he belongs in Toronto. And then when the fans and other people around say this kind of stuff, it kind of hurts that feeling of belonging. And that's the part that I don't like. So it's stuff like that. So it's tough. This is such a tough situation. And somebody put it this week, they're professionals, they're grown up, they know that this is part of the business. But it still doesn't make it easier to hear things like, oh, you could get traded to Brooklyn anytime and stuff like that. And that's why I wanted to share the love for Gary, because we love and appreciate you, Gary. We see your potential that's coming up. We see how badass a player you are and a scorer in this league you are. And we want you to be on our team when you completely blossom and become the best you can be. And I know there's even better coming. And it's going to be from consistency. It's going to be that he comes out and he's consistently hitting his shot. There's not a hot and a cold night, something like that. He may go on a hot streak where he scores like 30 points for 5 games in a row, but then he has some games where he doesn't score 10 points in a game, stuff like that. We want to see him get to that consistent level where he's night in, night out, somewhere around 15, at least, if not way more. And like I said, this guy has the potential to heat up and score so quickly that he can get like 20 points in a quarter like that. And then boom, all of a sudden, he's broken Fred VanVleet's single game scoring record as a Toronto Raptor. because he really has the potential to do that. It's like if he's very like there was a game he had like was similar to Fred's Orlando game when he scored 50 55 and beat or DeMar's record or whatever. There's a game similar to that where Gary just shoots like a really crazy high percentage. He's really efficient. He will get over 50 points in a Raptor jersey. It's going to be crazy. So I love that Shane's saying this because I think he should be in a Raptor jersey too. In fact, if you ask me personally, who deserves to be on the Raptors between him and Kevin Durant more, it's Gary. Gary deserves it. His character, who he is, and how he's become. And Kevin doesn't necessarily deserve the luxury of wearing a Toronto Raptors jersey in some ways. He's been a snake. He's been really weird about things in different ways. And I'm not talking about talent wise. I'm just saying as a person, as a character, as somebody that you want to root for in some ways. That's what I'll say is the difference. Seymour saying I'm getting hyped early for this game already. Yeah, this game at 3:30. Honestly, I'm glad it's earlier in the day that we get to watch it a little bit earlier than 7:30 and stuff like that and get some afternoon hoops. I am so excited. I want to see Delano play absolutely fantastic. I want to see Ron Harper Jr. get out there and throw his weight around and kind of bully ball some people, push some people out of the way and just score some baskets. I want to see if he can hit some outside shots. And then, we got other guys we got to really see what happened. I'm really happy for DJ Wilson. That I think that this is true. That a commenter came and put a comment on one of my streams the last 2 days saying that he thinks that the NBA has expanded the rosters from 15 to 17 players, and that would mean we have two more roster spots open for players from the summer league to possibly make it on the team, which is fantastic for people like Justin Champagny and DJ Wilson. DJ Wilson getting a multi-year contract yesterday is really telling. Is that the Raptors really are ready to invest in him and have him become a real part of our roster. That last year is just a G League replacement. He was a little bit different than the other guys like Jawan Morgan and Daniel Otoro, and all those guys. I don't even remember all their names, but he was a little bit different, a little bit more of a level higher than those other replacement G League players. And now we've got him into the fold for real. He's got to feel some security with that. But I love what he said in his interview yesterday. He says, I'm not resting on my laurels. I have a lot of work to do. And in a lot of ways, he's right. Even though he has that contract, that doesn't mean anything's guaranteed or that he'll be on the team for sure. So he has to continue to work in the summer league. And then he has to have a really good showing in training camp also in September. So that's the thing. DJ Wilson, congratulations. I'm glad we hung on to you. It was really precarious and just a little single strand of thread that was holding us together. But you trusted in the Raptors management to get you in the fold when the opportunity presented itself. And we appreciate that. There probably were times last season where you could have gone and taken another team's contract or gone some other route, but you stuck with us and you're now getting paid off and getting the benefits of it for that. And that's fantastic. And honestly, DJ Wilson will be great on a roster this year because he fits our mold. He's a more offensive minded guy in that mold, which is like Otto Porter Jr. And that way, this is what we needed for our bench. In fact, this is why you guys liked him so much last year. Like, kick somebody else off the bench that's dead wood and keep DJ Wilson because he consistently can score, it seems like. Like, he doesn't have a hard time scoring in the NBA, it looks like. So that's what we needed more on our bench was better consistent scoring. And, him and Otto Porter are going to be a big upgrade from last year. If they're going to be sitting on our bench and Nick Nurse can call their number if we're having a little bit of a stagnation on offense. And they both can play the positionless basketball also. So win, win, win. That's what I'm saying with that. Joseph Stark saying the signing of DJ is really interesting. I wonder if it's KD trade related or if it hampers our ability to get KD. Okay, it jumped ahead. If not, our team is looking nice. I agree, Alex. Standing pat may be better. Yeah, I mean, seriously, like, this is the thing. Like, we kind of talked about this a little bit this week, that like maybe what Kevin's doing is trying to cause ruffles and problems in other teams, like seeing just how solid they are and like not turning on players and saying, "Oh, you're trade bait," and then causing like rifts on teams and stuff like that. That there could be very much like a snake kind of thing that Kevin's doing is like, well, other teams are so strong and we're a dumpster fire. Let me see if I can make some more teams in the league a dumpster fire by putting it out there that I'm available for trade, and let's just see how they all react. It's like he's the cheese and we're all the mice, and he wants to see if we'll take it and be in the mousetrap. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't cool. I don't like this at all. So I don't think that signing DJ has anything to do with what could happen with the Kevin Durant trade. Hang on just a sec. Let me give you a second. I can hear you. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I don't think DJ is going to have anything to do with the KD trade, and that is not going to be anything related to that. So, anyway, Tom Duke saying, "Will Raptors spread the minutes out and everyone gets a solid look chance? I really like the roster number going up." You mean for the regular season, or you mean for a summer league? Now, with summer league, it could be kind of like this, and like what they've done with Chet Holmgren in Oklahoma City is that they play the really high esteemed draft picks early. Like Koloko plays like maybe the first two games, and then he doesn't play any more of the summer league games because he's already got a spot, and they're really trying out the other guys deep in on the summer league team to try and see if they can make it. So it's that kind of thing. And during this time, overuse Pascal, so he might get hurt. We don't want to have any of our players around 40 minutes a game. If we can keep them between 30 and 35, the absolute best players, that would be better for the long term, for the whole season, stuff like that. G saying Masai knows we can't trade out of contention. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, we're in contention no matter what, and it's only going to get better. It's not going to get worse. Is what he won't make. He won't do us wrong. Is basically what it is. People keep saying this. So Seymour saying is Yuta back? No, no, Yuta's not going to be back. He's in Japan right now, and I don't even know if he's going to come back for summer league. It's interesting that Aaron Baines is working out for summer league, and congratulations to him. I'm glad that he's healthy enough to come in and actually try and get back into the league. So good, a good job, and I'm so happy Aaron Baines. Like he's not somebody I get pissed off about or malign because he's had such a hard time, and he tried his damnedest for the Raptors in Tampa, but it just didn't work out. So Aaron Baines, congratulations, and I'm glad you're healthy enough to try and make another NBA team in the summer league this summer. That's really, really good. So we'll have to see what happens with that. Monique saying again, Raptors won't gut their team for a 34-year-old Durant. Stop it. Take Durant out of your ass. Wow, Monique. Yeah, I mean, she really is anti-Durant at this point, and I don't blame her. She's sick of this noise. Monique is somebody who's family-oriented. She likes our team. She likes our family. She's loyal to our guys, and she gets hurt, and I get hurt myself when we hear so much talk about OG Anunoby and Gary Trent Jr. We just don't like it. Joe Starks is saying an offer sheet to Ayton basically eliminates our biggest competition. The Nets will realize teams are not going to manifest new players to trade for the rest of the year, so our offer will remain the best. Yeah, that's it in a nutshell right there. Joseph's got it. Is that like, there's not a whole lot of viable trade partners for Brooklyn with what they want to do with Kyrie and Kevin, that they really are hamstrung. Kyrie doesn't have the demand or the market value that they all thought that they did because he's got damaged it by last year with the vaccine exclusions from games and just him being kind of, people can see this. So there's like, why would they pay full price for a full-time Kyrie when they know that they're probably not going to get a full-time Kyrie? And then in the same token, Kevin, he has a value, sure, and it's a very good value, but in some ways it's hurt also because of his own baggage too. That maybe teams are understanding my dumpster fire rankings, that if you can't be a dumpster fire and win in this league, and sometimes when you get marquee big names in this league, you become a dumpster fire because of that. Like, look at what happened in the Lakers summer league game last night. They're sitting and watching the game, and LeBron's at one end of the court and Russell's at the other end of the court, and they won't acknowledge each other, and they don't even say anything or come up to each other or anything. And meanwhile, they're sitting at ends of the court, and the Lakers are losing their game badly. They're getting hammered. Like they lost by like 20 in that game. And meanwhile, Darvin Ham is sitting around saying that, oh, everything's great here. I love this team. We don't need to trade Russell. I have so many good plans for Russell and him becoming more defensive minded this year. I know I have to start cracking up when I say what Darvin Ham thinks is going to happen. And that he really wants Russell Westbrook to stay on this team. He doesn't even want Kyrie. It's LeBron that wants Kyrie to come in and get rid of Russell. He does not want Russell on his team anymore. And Darvin Ham is like, I want Russell. I want to teach him, and I like this team I have already. So see, there's already dumpster fire cracks left and right in the Lakers. That even though LeBron's staying out of the free agency stuff this season, well, is he totally? Because he's really, really wanting Kyrie bad. And this doesn't work out. If Russell ends up being on the Lakers this season, get ready for another dumpster fire year, Lakers, because Russell and LeBron do not mix. We'll just put it that way. And I don't think that's showing that, like, Kyrie and that whole thing. Yeah, we'll see how it all works out. We'll have to see how it works out. But it's very interesting. And then another thing about other teams, and we're playing Philadelphia today. All right, there's a clip that's been on social media the last couple of days of a practice that was held with Sam Cassell coaching for the Sixers and Tyrese Maxey and James Harden. And they're standing in this, and this is hilarious because this may be like, you don't see very many clips of James Harden working out like this and stuff like that. So he's really trying to change. Like, he's working his ass off in the summer. He's taking a pay cut so the Sixers can do more with their roster. And then, like, I swear I saw Sam Cassell on this clip teaching James Harden how to follow his shot and try and get offensive rebounds. That James has never thought about how to do this before. Like, in all of his years in the NBA, that Sam Cassell, there's literally footage out there right now showing him, this is how you offensive rebound, James. You follow your shot. If you're going to miss it, James, you run to the ball, track it, and try and get it and put it back. He's like teaching the man how to offensive rebound. It's hilarious. You guys should go watch it. You'll see it. And then he's like, Maxie's standing to the side. He's like, yeah. And James is like, see, look, we're doing good here. And so, like, and even afterwards, he had a tweet later. He said, good job, Maxie. We practiced hard today. And it's totally blowing James's cover that he never does this kind of shit in the off season. It's totally blowing his cover that he never works out or practices during the offseason. He finally did once, and Sam Cassell's teaching him how to offensive rebound, and then he's thanking Maxey for one practice. He's like, we practiced real hard today, Maxey. He's what he said. Oh, so good. James Harden's hilarious. Oh, my gosh. All right. Joseph Stark's saying also at Cameron, Yuta is gone. He is slated to play for his national team, I believe, not currently signed to any NBA team. Yeah, he's not currently signed to anybody. And I think that he'll have to take a year off and develop further somewhere else and then retry to get back into the NBA somehow, some way. But it may be that this is just the course of his career in the NBA at this point. I mean, he is 27, something like that. And, you know, the younger years, the time where he could really get attached to the NBA and play are kind of over. So Bruno Caboclo back in the Summer League. This is insane. Like, some of the highlights I've seen of Bruno in the Summer League are absolutely fantastic. He looks like a man out there with little kids. And I know he's like 26, 27 at this point. You know, what he was supposed to be, maybe he finally is hitting it. And in some ways, I really want him to be on the Raptors right now because it would just be such a beautiful full circle of getting drafted by the Raptors, all the bullshit, all the things that he went through as far as like he's a failure, he's not as good as we thought. And then he goes and leaves, goes back to Brazil, plays badass there, becomes the MVP of that league. And now he's back in Summer League this summer and he looks like a grown man. He's out there blocking shots. He's doing amazing things. Like, I didn't even think it was the same Bruno Caboclo. They said Bruno Caboclo with this. I'm like, is that even the same Bruno Caboclo? How many Bruno Caboclos are there in the world? It is the same Bruno Caboclo. And he does look amazing, Monique. I'm absolutely stupefied by Bruno Caboclo and what he's doing in Summer League right now. I want him back on the Raptors. And I want Jakob back too. The Spurs have said that Jakob is available. Let's do it, Bobby and Masai. Let's trade somebody for Jakob. If we can get Jakob Poeltl back, I am so about it. Even though we're already stacked with size at this point. It's almost like we don't need Jakob as much as we did last year. Now, but it's still just good to have the band back together is what I like. G saying I would hate the trade talk if I were him too, but at least it's for KD and not some scrub, and so that shows how people value him. Yeah. I mean, in some ways, that is an honor. In some ways, that's a compliment that, like, you were in bandied around in trade talk for Kevin Durant, one of the top 75 players ever in the history of the NBA. And the guys like Gary and Fred and OG and I mean, whoever else has been in the trade conversations this week, they have to look at it from that way in a way. It's like, wow, I kind of arrived if I'm getting talked in that same kind of thing. Tom Duke's saying Gary Trent Jr. is better than Kevin Durant. Let's go, Gary. I love it. I love it. You know, in some ways, maybe for what's left in the tank, what is kept some, you know, I watched Chris's Sports Corner a bit the last couple of days. You guys have mentioned him, and I went and checked out some of his content, and he's talking about this is what he thinks Kevin Durant's got. He's going to be very good until 38. So he's got 4 more years, according to Chris. And I don't disagree with him. I think he's right. But how many more years does Gary have? And where is the ceiling for Gary and what he can do? You know, we talk about Scotty's untouchable because of his potential. Well, where's the potential for OG? Where's the potential for Gary Trent Jr. that we're not talking enough about in this whole thing? And that we realize this. And that's why we value these guys more than the US does. And those places down there, because they devalue everything we got up here to try and get us for a bargain. But we know what we got with these guys, and they're on the up and up. And there's new levels that these guys can achieve of consistency and play in the NBA that we want to see. Gary and OG specifically. Oh, yeah. Joseph Stark saying, Alex, did you see the rave reviews DJ gave Coloco? Even Nurse says he's a beast on defense. I'm excited. I am excited. Woo! Also, Ron Harper Jr. looked chiseled. Our development already a success. Yeah, I mean, all right, yeah. DJ did say some nice things about Coloco. He said that he worked out with him in LA the week before Vegas. So these guys have all been together already. Like Ron Harper Jr. was there. They're getting in time ahead of time. So they should have good chemistry and a good nucleus starting today at 3:30 because they've already been working together for about 10 days. Now, it's like Ron Harper came up, is what he said, and he visited Toronto on the Sunday after he got signed to the two-way, and then he immediately went to LA and joined Coloco, DJ Wilson, other Raptor guys on the summer league, and they started working out there. And now they've moved on to Las Vegas, and they're working out with Trevor Gleason and the coaches and stuff at this point. And the DJ's saying that like he's really good on defense, Coloco, that he is a strong guy and that he's going to be good and that he liked him. And that Nurse has seen a little bit of him. They've seen him shooting threes, which is interesting. I want to see if Coloco takes a 3 today and if he makes it and stuff like that. And Ron Harper Jr. is going to be fun. Like, seriously, I don't know what exactly to expect. I'm going from like, all right, he could be nothing and he doesn't turn into anything. He doesn't even make like any kind of impact on our team, all the way to like he is going to be like almost our 7th or 8th man off the bench. That this dude will be on the regular roster. This is what Gleason said, that like they're not totally sure how to determine Ron Harper Jr. yet because they think he may be a regular Raptor on the main team versus being like heavily on the 905 side. So that is something we're going to have to see with Ron Harper. Is like how adept and how good is he at the NBA game right away, and if he can contribute in major ways, that he becomes a rotational player on the regular roster right away. That's what they're trying to determine. So I'm very excited for him. I really do want to see how good he is because I think Ron Harper Jr. is going to be fantastic. He's going to be a really pleasant surprise, and we're all going to be very happy that he's on our team because it's different things about him. All right. There's lots here, and I love it, and I'm going to get through it all. I promise you guys. G saying Nurse couldn't contain his excitement for Coloco, and yes, DJ said he thought he was better offensively than he thought. This is good. It's good. Yeah, Nurse has been giddier and giddier as the years go by. Like Nick Nurse has such a charmed coaching life, winning a championship his first year, and then just a GM that is so badass and works with him and gives him what he wants. He probably can go to Bobby and Masai and say, "This is what we need, guys. Can you just get it for me?" And then they're like, "Okay, we got you," and they go and get it for him. And that's things like Coloco and Otto Porter Jr. and Rico Hines and stuff like that. You get them for them. Monique saying they had 17 roster spots last year too, Lex. They did, but they kind of hide two of them in the G League. It's like they use 15 regular for them, but then there's kind of two hidden there. Yeah, they've had it like this for a while, but I've always had 15 stuck in my mind. And I don't know why. You know that picture from last year, Monique, where they had everybody together and like Sam Decker's in it and Goran and the whole roster from the beginning of the year. I think that was 15 guys still. That picture with Yuta and Svi and you know the one I'm talking about. That's the one I go by because that's the kind of like, okay, that's the 15 guys on the team. But then they stash two guys in the G League. They're kind of extra on top. I don't know. As long as we have more guys and we can keep a hold of 17 guys and we can bring them in and out according to injury or protocol with COVID and stuff like that, that's the best. And that's why I think it's smart that the NBA has a 17-man roster instead of a 15-man roster. And this will be good for the summer league guys because they'll have more of a chance to actually possibly get a spot. So Kenny's here. Good to see you, Kenny. And yeah, yesterday was messed up, wasn't it, Kenny? I know you were having issues too. You were saying last night. Bruno was the guinea pig. Glad Messiah apologized for not handling his situation better. We got 905 because of him. That's exactly right. That the Raptors 905 became about because of the issues with Bruno Caboclo and how we fumbled developing him when he was young. That he was the inspiration for getting that G League team and really like the catalyst for us becoming a great development team was Bruno Caboclo. So thank you, Bruno. We appreciate you. You have an important part in the Raptors history and stuff like that, even if it wasn't totally on the court. Joseph Stark saying, ever since the Miami bubble, DJ has been committed to us. I know this because I'm a kooky Raptor fan and followed him in all platforms. He left us little clues he was still with us. In Masai we trust. The Tampa Bay bubble. Oh, you mean in the Tampa Bay bubble? I was like, Miami bubble. Okay, so yeah. You mean like last year in the Tampa year? That's like 2 years ago. Like I don't even remember him being involved with us. I mean, last year, yeah, he hitched his wagon to us. We had him show up, and we had him on 3 10-day contracts last season, and we kept calling him back, and we told him, it's like, look, dude, when you get your chance, we're gonna get you in here. And well, that day came yesterday, and he got that contract, and that's really really good. And it's good because like you know, Masai's showing that he's a man of his word is basically what I'm saying. Is like, we kind of left him in a lurch and we could have left them hung out to dry and not done anything. But we're coming through with what we said we would do for DJ Wilson. And that's important. That's important because other players see that and they learn that they can trust the Raptors organization compared to maybe the Knicks. You can't trust them, stuff like that. Okay, T Green is here. All right, this is a fan of another team, obviously. Contention for what? Let's be honest. Without KD, the Raptors are a second-round team at best. Y'all need a KD type to be considered a contender. I don't agree with this. I think that KD will help us get there for sure and faster. But I think that you're going to be surprised, like how quickly some of our young players develop and be so much better. Scotty Barnes in particular. Precious Achiuwa is another one. Like this is what I keep saying to people, T Green, is that the Raptors are a garden. We have a lot of different plants that are growing in the garden, and they all have different speeds of growth. And that we were a certain height of growth last season. Well, this summer we're growing. We're growing right now. Scotty Barnes has a better jump shot already. He's shooting threes better already. Delano Banton has made changes to his game that are better. Pascal Siakam is working his ass off. Rico Hines says he's the hardest working player he's ever worked with in all this time of player development. So these guys are not resting. They take the offseason very seriously, and they all come back with new skills, new tools, new things that they have in their game. And next year, what's going to happen with the Raptors is they're going to be together more. They'll be more familiar. Last year was an orientation year. A lot of these guys hadn't played together. Like, you guys, you have guys like Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum who played together for like 8 years, and they develop a certain kind of chemistry. Well, part of the reason why the Raptors are keeping this nucleus together, hopefully, without getting Kevin Durant, is that we can grow this nucleus and they'll be so much more synergized and have even better chemistry this year. That's what I'm saying. And we had a lot of injury problems last year also. That we missed a lot of games from Pascal at the beginning of the season. OG missed big chunks. Fred wasn't completely healthy this year. We missed Kem Birch a lot. We weren't healthy this year. And we lost a lot of games, and we still ended up 5th in the East. We would have had home court advantage. We might have even possibly been the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference if we hadn't had so many injuries from last season and been so young. So listen, don't get it twisted, T Green. We're on path to go up. And you guys better watch out. I don't even know what team you root for. I don't even give a shit because we're going to be that team. We're going to be number one in the East if we have good health this year. You're going to watch it. And that's not even getting Kevin Durant. So just get ready for what's happening with the Raptors and positionless basketball and upgrading our roster and sticking to what we did last year that was badass. So that's what I'll say right there. G saying, T, did he win for the Nets? No, because they traded their depth and defense. This is a team sport. Getting him without trading out of contention is the only way to get him, or else no point. Yeah, exactly. Like Kevin, listen, what Kevin wants, he wants to win championships. And the best team for him to go to win another championship is Toronto. And he knows this, but he doesn't want to mess up Toronto going into it. He doesn't want us to be stripped of what we're doing, gutted our team, because he wants to win with us. So he's probably more on the side of like Toronto fleecing Brooklyn than Brooklyn getting fair for what he's like. I don't want Toronto to sell the farm. I want as much in Toronto as possible. Like he probably wants Scotty Barnes there. He probably wants Fred VanVleet there. He wants Pascal there if he goes there. And he's probably rooting for the Raptors to fleece the Nets so that he can have a better team around him when he does land in Toronto eventually, possibly. So it's that kind of thing. Tom Duke saying, T Green, disagree. We were that last year, and we have had a successful offseason signing our rising stars in auto. We got better and we got deeper. One of our biggest problems last year was we had no bench. We had nobody who was reliable, and we had to really overplay our starters. Well, we're not going to have to do that this year. We've got a deep, deep, deep bench now. And the crazy thing is, other than Fred VanVleet, everybody's 6'5" and up. Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr. are going to be the shortest people that we play this year. So just get ready to have to deal with long arm monster all over the court, all over the place. Crazy wing style. That's what you're going to get from the Raptors this year. Let's see. T Green saying the Nets like the Pelicans package better than the Suns package using Brandon Ingram as the base. See, listen, this is the thing. The Pelicans, they don't necessarily want to deal with you guys either. If you guys, I don't know if you're a Nets fan. It's partly because they like Ingram. They have good things going down there also. They're similar to us, that they have a good nucleus and they're moving in the right direction. And that, they don't want to lose their best talent, their best young talents, just to get Kevin Durant on a rental for, 3 or 4 years. And who knows how many of those games he plays when he's hurt. He's very overvalued in certain areas by certain people. And in some other areas, he's very realistically valued as being his age, as having missed this many games in recent years, as having these kind of limitations, as he gets older. So there's a lot of different things working into this, T Green. But, just understand the Raptors are going to be good regardless. We're going to be fighting for a championship this year. And you may think I'm crazy to say that, but let us sneak up on y'all again, like we always do. Because we will be a championship contender. We'll be one of the top Eastern teams this year. As much as the NBA media and the US media hates that, we will be there. Just write us in right now because we will be in there. It's just as the day rises, the sun comes up. The Raptors will be a playoff team and they will be getting further. And I like that you say we'll get the second round, but I think we can do better than that. I think we can do better than that. We would have done better this year if we hadn't had injuries once again at the very beginning. Like Gary Trent Jr. being sick and nobody knowing that was a real damage to our chances against the Sixers. And then Scotty, that whole thing, and Fred getting 2 fouls within 30 seconds of the series, that was pretty messed up. So there was a lot of different things going on there. G saying, good for the Pelicans. The Nets traded their athletic youth and they got swept with Durant and Kyrie. Yeah, you can't do this anymore. You can't be so top heavy. Like I'm worried about Minnesota for this reason, that they're so top heavy with their 2 centers and Anthony Edwards that where's the money for the rest of the roster to be quality and have like good depth? You can have these badass centers and stuff like that, but who the fuck do you have for the rest of your team? So I'm going to be very interested to see Minnesota and their experiment with Gobert and how it goes. And that it's a similar kind. It's the newest kind of super team, in my opinion, is Minnesota right now, and the way that they did their team this summer. Let's see. T Green saying, gee, he was a toenail away from defeating the eventual champs by himself. It had nothing to do with depth because the only player traded away that would have still been on the team was Jared Allen. Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't want to get into much semantics of other past deals and things and stuff like that with the Nets and Cleveland and stuff like that, and all that kind of stuff. But Lolita's here. Good to see Lolita. The way that Gary improved and defensively was amazing to watch. The confidence he showed is going to improve as time goes by. Yeah, I agree with this. We love Gary. We want him in a Raptors jersey. Let's just pure and simple say that. But we also realize this is a business and that Masai and Bobby are trying to make the best possible Raptor team for us to win championships. And they're going to do what they're going to do, and we need to just trust in it. But as long as Gary Trent Jr. is a Raptor, we love him and we want him. We will love him afterwards too. But I'm just saying, he's our dude. He's on our team. We love and support him. We're not throwing him under the bus. We're not denigrating him just because he's in trade talk right now. We love you, Gary. And that's why we're doing the Share the Love Club. Gary Trent Jr., the man with the best swag on the team. This is the best dressed dude on the Raptors. This is the dude that just showing it, the realness. This is the guy with the cool dad that used to play for the Raptors himself, Gary Trent Sr. You know, there's so many cool things to like about Gary. His little brother, Grayson's going to be a badass, or Garrison. One of those brothers is going to be really good basketball player. I'm going to say that right now. He has a little brother that's going to be in the NBA one day. Trust me. He's only like 7 or 8, but I've seen this kid. He's real good. So Gary, we love you, man. We know you're a real one, and you're out there and you're wilding. You're doing whatever you do with your life. You know, you've been jet setting this summer. You've been everywhere: Miami or Ohio, Minnesota, Las Vegas, Toronto. This man has been everywhere. And Gary, we love you. We want you on the Raptors. I'm ready for you to get a 50-point game for the Toronto Raptors this season. And that's what I want to see. You back in our jersey and you getting a 50-point game. Oh, yeah. I want to see it. Nako the Nacho. I haven't seen your name in a while, man. Missed you, Nako, man. So glad you're back. Would rather run with DJ than Yuta. DJ seems to have better ball handling skills. I've seen Christian Coloco get compared to Jumbo Surge, which would make him perfect. Yeah, I like a couple of things you're saying. Yeah, DJ is an upgrade over Yuta. You know, as far as height and offensive skill, and just like a little bit more time accrued in important situations in the NBA, DJ Wilson. And then the second part, what you said, yeah, there is a comparison to Ibaka with Coloco that I've seen. And specifically, the thing that Christian Coloco is really good at that I like is that jumper at the top of the key, just north of the free throw line that Serge used to hit all the time for us. That really steady jumper. You remember what I'm talking about. But when they leave Serge open around that area, and he'd nail it. And that is Coloco has that shot also, guys, that he can consistently hit that top of the key shot that Serge used to get left open for. And that's the move that really makes me think of Serge. It makes me, I miss Serge, but he's back on the Bucks again this season. So it'll be interesting. But he steps back just a couple feet, and all of a sudden that's a 3-pointer. And that's what they're trying to get him to, is that 3-point shot. But I really like his shot. Coloco looks good mechanically with his jump shot, just from what I've seen in the footage. And let's see it today in real action. I love it. G saying, not true. The Nets were a very young, exciting team. They traded at the farm and now scrambling to fix it. Almost not the same. Yeah, I'm going to agree with G on this, T Green. Listen, when they got Harden specifically, it may not have been specifically the Durant trade, but this whole experiment of getting these big three and how much of a failure it's been, they mortgaged the farm. They don't have any trade picks anymore. That's part of the reason why in these deals for Kyrie and Kevin right now, they want trade picks coming back because they don't have anything coming up now. Because that's how they did it. They stripped their future to get big superstars for the short term, and it really did turn out to be the short term and didn't go anywhere. So, and that's what I worry about for Minnesota once again, is that they've stripped themselves of draft picks by sending them all to Utah for this Rudy Gobert trade. And these teams do this. Like, they strip their team of draft picks to get big superstars like Brooklyn did. And now they're trying to scramble to get some picks back in these deals right now. And G's right. They strip themselves to get these superstars. Maybe not the Durant specifically, but the Harden one for sure. They really messed up their team because of that one. Monique saying, Lex, you're right about Bolton. I see his post every day. Yeah, King Bolton, he's like he's in Gary's entourage. He's one of his best friends, but he's also kind of like, if this was like medieval times, he's like a squire. It's like, it's like Gary's a knight. and he's a knight for the House of Raptors. And Jordan is his squire. He's kind of like his speaker, his mouthpiece. And he's kind of coming out and saying, hear ye, sir. Gary Trent Jr. declares that he does not like your trade talk with him and Kevin Durant. He's like, this is what Jordan King Bolton's role is for Gary Trent Jr. He's like a squire for a knight. I love it. It's very cool. I like it. It's a good relationship. And, in some ways, Bolton can say things that Gary can't get away with saying that he would like to say. And then instead, King Bolton will go and say it. That's badass. I love you too, King Bolton. This is Share the Love Club. We love Gary Trent Jr., his entourage, Gary Trent Sr., and King Bolton. Everything that comes with Gary Trent Jr. We love you, man. We love y'all. All right. Seymour saying Ingram, Zion, Dyson, Daniels for Kyrie and Katie. What do you think? Good move or no? Not for the Pelicans. No, because I think part of the problem with what's happening with Brooklyn is they're trying to separate Kyrie from Kevin, that they don't necessarily want to play together. And that would be part of the beautiful irony of them, neither one of them going anywhere and having to play together in Brooklyn this season. Is that this is the underlying thing, is that Kevin's sick of Kyrie's shit to a degree. And he was sick of Harden's shit. He's just sick of Brooklyn shit in general. And that if they all had to sit in the same shit for this season coming up, this is going to be comedy jokes. Like, that's what I'm saying. If the Lakers and Brooklyn do not make moves, they're desperate because they're going to be sitting in the same shit pile that they were sitting in last season. So that's the way it is right there. New Orleans doesn't have to bail them out. They're just like us. They're like, we're moving towards good things. And, we see that really shiny, nice carrot you're dangling in front of us is Kevin Durant, but we don't have to take it because we know that there's a negative side to it also and stuff like that. So T Green saying, Tom Duke, respectfully, only Raptor fans think the Raptors are actual contenders. Around the league, we know y'all have a good nucleus, but missing a top player, someone like KD. Respectfully, T Green, you listen to just the NBA media. You just listen to ESPN. You listen to Chris Broussard. I'm sorry, I had to laugh when I said that name. You listen to Stephen A. Smith. You listen to Skip Bayless. You listen to all these fucking idiots, the talking heads on ESPN. You're not actually watching us. You are not actually watching the Raptors. You're not actually paying attention. And we will make you pay attention this year. So you go ahead and you believe the NBA hype machine and the media machine about who the Raptors are. You go ahead and keep sleeping on us because we love that, because we come in, we show you the reality every fucking year. So you go ahead and believe that in your own little world. And you say that we're the ones who are delusional. Well, you're going to, I wasn't delusional in 2019 when I thought this. So you know what? I'm going to think the same damn way I thought in 2019. We'll see where it goes. How about that? How about that? Because seriously, we are honestly a contender. It's just that we get slighted in the media and it shapes y'all's opinion of us. That y'all are hear Charles say, oh, they need some superstars before they can do anything. That's bullshit. We got superstars. Pascal Siakam's all NBA. Fred VanVleet is an all-star. And Scotty Barnes is the rookie of the year. And we have superstars and they're up and coming. Just because they decide not to shine a light on them or give them any of the proper respect that they deserve, Pascal Siakam deserves way more respect than he gets in the league. Fred VanVleet deserves way more respect than he gets in the league. That you discount us. Well, go ahead and discount us. Part of the hidden bonus for us is that y'all sleep on us. Y'all take us lightly. I mean, listen, the fans in the NBA in America, you can sleep on us. But I'm going to tell you right now, opposing teams that play the Raptors, they don't sleep on us. They know exactly what they got to deal with when they have to play us. In fact, last year, nobody wanted to play the Raptors. They were sitting out major stars left and right. Giannis did not want to play against us. He would sit games rather than play us and stuff like that. So what I'm saying is we're feared. Nobody wants to play us, and we just double down on more of what we are feared for. And that is that long arm monster, that positionless scheme, these guys that can play every position and that we're just nasty and two-way players, every single one of us. So, yeah, you go ahead and sleep on us, T Green, and believe that we're not actually contenders. And just because you're going to come in here and say that you believe that and that you think that a lot of other NBA people believe that doesn't make it a reality. So we'll just see how the W's get sorted out this season and who's where by the end of the season in the playoff standings and stuff like that. And then we'll see. We'll revisit this. How about right around March next year? You come back and see me on the Raptor Freak channel. We'll have this discussion again. How about that? G saying Pascal scored 7 less points than KD and had essentially the same rebounds and assists. KD is obviously better, but let's not pretend you can carry like Kawhi as a two-way player. All right, this is what I'm going to say right now. And he's right. Like, Pascal is not that far off. But listen, and this is what Chris in the Sports Corner said, and this is true, that part of what the Raptors do need is a bucket. This is what Chris says. It's like Kawhi was a bucket. That there's periods of time when the Raptors go through lulls with their offense where they cannot score, and that we just need a bucket. And that's what Kevin Durant would be if we acquired him. He'd be a steady bucket, somebody who could score at any time in the game when we really need it. And I'll agree that this is a role that we need on this team. But I don't agree that it absolutely has to be Kevin Durant. That this could be somebody on our team still just stepping up and getting to a new level of consistency and responsibility on the team. And Pascal's the closest to it. As Scotty Barnes says, his moves are OP, overpowering. You cannot stop Pascal with his spin move. And that, listen, if he gets his 3-point shot more deadly this summer, which is what he's doing, I'll tell you right now, the two things, the number one priority for Scotty Barnes and Pascal Siakam this summer was to get more consistent with their 3-point shooting. You don't think they're going to come back with a better 3-point shot this season? You're damn right they are. And that's going to make things even more scarier and worse for the rest of the league. That Pascal's finally hitting his threes like crazy. I mean, he already hits his threes at a pretty good clip, but he's going to hit them even better this season coming up. And same's going to go for Scotty. That's big trouble for the NBA. Just trust me. This is big, big trouble for the NBA. So we just need somebody who's going to find a basket when we really need a basket. It was Kawhi when he was here. It could be Kevin if he came here. But it may be one of the guys who's already on the team that just elevates and becomes that dude. And Jan is laughing his ass off, and I'm pretty sure he's laughing at T Green. So, all right, Tom Duke's saying T Green, sure, I watch TV too. Don't believe the hype they push all the time. Respect the North. We're on our way up. That's exactly right. That's exactly right, Tom Duke, and I appreciate you. Seriously, like, this is the thing. The U.S. media and the NBA media machine hates the Raptors. They're slighting us left and right. They don't give us enough credit. They don't say who we really are, because they want to condition people to think that we're a shitty team and not root for us. Well, they're wrong, and we're going to come up, and we're going to get what's ours. And this is what we're about. Masai Ujiri just wants Larry O'Brien's. Fred VanVleet just wants Larry O'Brien's. Otto Porter Jr. just wants Larry O'Brien's. So that's what we're about. And we are closer than y'all want to admit. And you just want to keep saying it because it's true. It's actually true. We are a lot closer than you think. So G's saying, okay, so Raps swept that Nets team, and this Nets team still got swept. Yeah, I mean, we swept the Nets a couple years ago, and yeah, they got swept this year by Boston. You know, the thing with the Nets this year just proves that super teams don't work. The super team experiment should be dead in the league. That if you want to win NBA championships, you need to be more like the Milwaukee Bucks and the Toronto Raptors, the Golden State Warriors. You can't be a team like the Lakers tried to build in the last couple years. You can't be like Brooklyn Nets. You know, you're not going to get anywhere. It just doesn't work. Seymour saying at T Green, we are good over here. We don't rely on one man to beat you as a team, as a gang, as a family, tight knit. We the North, not KD the North. That's right. Seymour's on it. That's right. And we'll defend this. Shane saying, do you really think KD can pull off Nick Nurse's defensive switches? In my opinion, no freaking way. Defense is our identity, is it not? Well, Kevin can. He can do it. I mean, he's still pretty mobile and quick. I'm not going to slight Kevin as a player. He's a great player. The things that worry me about Kevin are injury concerns and just where is that cliff where he might fall off and he changes as a player because of age. So those are the biggest concerns I have about him. I don't have any concern about him being clutch or unstoppable or being a great player. I don't even have many concerns about him hurting us on defense because I feel like he can be used by Nick Nurse in a way that he'll be all right. So I don't totally agree with Shane's assessment here, but you know, he may not be the best defender on our team. He may be one of the weaker ones if he did come here. G saying we value the collective and not the individual. One player cannot win a chip. Raps are not going to be the Nets 2.0. Get him so they can win, not just for bragging rights. Listen, we're going to be all right either way. We're in a no-lose scenario. We're going to be a contender either way, T Green. it's getting back to your original point. We're contenders. Seriously, if I've had to pick 4 teams in the East that are real contenders to be winning the East this year, it's Miami, Milwaukee, Boston, and the Raptors. Those are the 5 real contenders for the Eastern Conference and winning the Eastern Conference championship and being the representative for the Eastern Conference in the finals. Those 4 teams: Milwaukee, Boston, Miami, and Toronto. And maybe some people will start arguing Philadelphia in there or Cleveland and bullshit like that. But I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think that they will be one of the real contenders like the top 4, like us. So let's see. T Green saying another thing you're missing is Durant attracts players. The only reason Kyrie signed there and they signed Harden was KD. If he goes to the Raps, then other stars will give you a look. We're getting looks anyway. I mean, look at Otto Porter Jr. He could have just re-signed with the defending champions and stayed with Golden State. In fact, that wasn't much less than what he got from us to stay in Golden State. And I mean, why would he want to come here if we weren't attractive? If we weren't actually a real title contender? This is Otto Porter Jr.'s own words. And this man just won a cup, won a Larry O'Brien with Golden State. He said, this team is ready to go back to the finals, and I'm here to help them get there and win another championship. This is what Otto Porter Jr. is saying. This is a man who's in the thick of it. This is a man who's been in the league for many years. He understands the NBA, and he sees what the Raptors are, and this is why he came. So we're attracting people already. Like maybe we don't get these big splash, huge names like other teams. Like we don't give a shit. Half the time those guys come with baggage, like John Wall. It's like, oh, great, John Wall went to the Clippers. Great, woohoo! Like I don't give a shit. Like why do we want these guys? We'd much rather have character guys that we get ourselves and develop and bring them up. So we don't give a shit about attracting free agents like Kyrie. Why would you want? It's like having a pile of shit in your house and you're attracting flies. We don't need that. Monique saying Vancouver, be ready for Team Canada next month. That's right, Tom Duke. Get ready. Team Canada playing the next part of the FIBA qualifying for the Olympics in 2024 in Paris, France. That's right. More Team Canada action before the summer's over out in BC, baby, in the West Coast. Nako the Nacho saying Gary and OG have all-star upside. I really, truly believe this. Like, if you look at the Raptors roster, these guys are saying we have no superstars, but how many potential all-stars do we have on this fucking team? Seriously. Like OG, Gary, I even believe that Koloko, this is real premature. I think he could be an all-star level kind of player eventually down the road if he develops right. That's what Bobby is trying to say. He's like, I'm trying to draft an all-star level player in the second round. And that's what he tried to do with Koloko. So listen, OG, Gary, Fred, Pascal, Scotty, Precious, these guys are all possible all-stars in their career. 2 of them already are. So these other guys could easily jump up and get on a better level. They kind of hurt each other because they're so good and so together as a collective that they hurt their chances for individual accolades. But that's fine. They don't care. They only care about one accolade, and that's winning championships. And that's another advantage we have over other teams in this league, that these dudes are really bought into the team concept and winning as a team and being as a group and no individual mindset. That this is a family, and this is part of the reason why these dudes are so tight. This is why they've been hanging out all summer. They've already been working out together. They're all together in Las Vegas right now, having a blast, hanging out with each other and stuff like that. It's so awesome. Tom Duke is saying clown TV basketball garbage equals 2023, and then Raptors, 5 Raptors starting lineup. Light bulb. Yeah, I think that sums up a bit of the perception of the Raptors from the U.S. side of the border. Is they're clowns the way they're watching us, and that they have trash takes on the Raptors because they don't just like Chris Bouchard's this week. That is a trash take on Toronto. And this is where these people are coming from with the misinformation and not understanding who we are. G saying, okay, that was a nightmare for the Nets. Raps don't care about divas and ego. We really don't. We don't want it. T Green saying, nobody believes that except Toronto fans. Is it possible they make an all-star team one day? Yeah, sure. But we can say the same about 100 other non-all-stars in the league. Potential is always a fun word. Seriously, OG could be an all-star. If he was on Orlando and he was already developing and stuff like that there, if he wasn't in the shadow of Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet, OG could be an all-star. Gary Trent, same thing. Listen, you can say that it's just Toronto fans, but listen, there's fans of other teams that believe this also and really understand who we are. You go talk to a Milwaukee Buck fan and ask them about how they feel about the Raptors. Go and talk to Chris's Sports Corner. He's a Laker fan. Go talk to Chev. He was a Knicks fan. These fans of other teams are realizing what the Raptors are doing, and they're jumping on board. This is like, we got a Laker fan that's doing a Raptors channel over there, Chris's Sports Corner, and we got a Knicks fan in New York, NBA Chef, doing a Raptors channel also. So you go ahead and keep sleeping on us, T Green. You go ahead. We love people sleeping. We're not going to hit the alarm. We're not going to let it go off. We'll hit the snooze button over and over again and let you sleep. You go ahead and keep sleeping. Keep sleeping. G saying Nets have never won a chip. Trust Masai and what he does over what most teams do. That's right. Have the Nets ever won? No, they haven't. Have the Phoenix Suns ever won? No, they haven't. There's a lot of teams that have never won championships, and the Raptors have. So we will go with that. Tom Duke saying, woohoo, go Raptors. T Green saying, gee, you say that until you get superstars trying to come to your team on a discount. Then your feeling about it will change. Yes and no. Like, seriously, we're doing a certain recipe with how we build our team, T Green. It really is about character and fit. And it's not about flashiness. It's not about big names. It's not about getting, Kevin Durant and stuff like that. It's about building within and doing what we have to. We've had to do this because what you've said, that a lot of free agents didn't want to come here. So we had to figure out ways to build our team in a way that was really positive and constructive through the draft and developing our own young players within. And that's part of our strength, is we got really good at it. And then we don't have to rely on any kind of free agency. We don't have to rely on lottery picks. We don't have to rely on that kind of stuff to get there. So, and G's saying Barnes is going to be a superstar. I think that's a slam dunk. The personality and the way the youngster works. I mean, listen, I really know this kid now. I've spent like 60 to 70 hours with him this summer, watching him play video games. I really know Scotty Barnes inside out. And this kid's a winner. He's a special one. In fact, listen, forget about Kevin Durant attracting people to our team. Scotty Barnes is attracting people to our team. That people see the energy and the exuberance, the pure joy for the game, the love, and the untapped potential of Scotty Barnes. They want to be around it and play next to him. I think Kevin Durant wants to play with Scotty Barnes, that he is attracting him to Toronto. I think Rico Hines coming to our team is partly attracted by the idea of Scotty Barnes being here. So forget about any other guy having to come here to do that. Scotty Barnes is the attractiveness of being in Toronto and being a part of our organization. So there you go. It's like, do we need Kevin? No, we got Scotty. That'll attract people here. Trust me. G saying, I said it on draft night and stand by that. Can get into all the reasons, but the proof is in the pudding. Yes. Options for success, we got lots. Yeah, I love that he put the number 4, because that's the big 4. And the options for success, big 4s have got a lot about to do that. All right, G saying, heard that before 2019 too. I'm not sure. T Green's erased a couple messages that I didn't get to. It's all right. We'll still talk. This is a good, respectful discourse. He's coming in here as a fan of something else, and we're just kind of jousting a little bit, and it's all fair. It's not personal and stuff like that. So it's good. Monique saying, I'm so happy to get comfy with the new guys. What people don't know and see, I'm so close to this organization. Exactly. Monique is deep in that organization, MLSC. She's the community champion of the Toronto Raptors. She is involved with the Raptors organization, and she talks to them. So if somebody knows some stuff's going on, is Monique, is what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And like I said, listen, we don't get covered in the United States partly because they don't see us as part of their market. The NBA Canada does all the marketing for the Raptors, and we're supposed to get coverage up here mostly, but they don't pay attention to us. We're like the one child out of the 30 that gets sent to the corner and doesn't get sent into the cellar, and we have to live in the cellar. Meanwhile, the other 29 kids get to run around up top and play, and they get pictures taken of them, and we're like the kid that's downstairs that's kept in a cage, that's kept downstairs. That's how we really are treated by the U.S. media, the Toronto Raptors. So T Green, I don't know where you live. I'm pretty sure you're on the States. You got to realize that's part of the reason why you're shaped with your opinions about the Raptors. You're not hearing anything about us. You're not getting the right coverage of us. And we're paying very close attention to our team up here. Me personally, I am paying attention to every single damn thing that the Raptors do. Monique is in their organization paying very close attention. We look at everything. And we're coming from a very educated point of view. And you don't have to agree with us. That's fine. But realize that the US media and the NBA media is not telling you the whole truth about the Raptors down south. And that the reality will be sorted out in between the lines in 48-minute games and 82 games this season. And the reality will be shown then and stuff like that. So T Green saying, I like your team. So don't take it as me hating on them. You're the guys I'm hoping land him, but you're overrating your team if you think OG and Trent can be at the top of the ticket. No, I'm exactly saying this is exactly what Brooklyn needs to take. If they want this deal to happen, it needs to be a Gary OG and picks trade, and that's it. Nothing else. You're not going to get Scotty. You're not going to get Pascal. You're not going to get Freddie. You're going to get those two guys and picks, and that's what you're going to have to take if you want to deal with the Raptors for Kevin Durant. And it's going to get worse and worse for Brooklyn going the other way. I appreciate that you're not hating on us and you're just trying to be realistic and tell us your perspective of things and stuff like that. Well, part of it is an information war. It's just like politics. It's like Donald Trump uses information war to get his agenda forward. We're doing the same damn thing here. Because listen, there's a force in the States that does the opposite, that sullies us, sewers the Raptors. So I'm just that force for our side going the other way. And, there's a lot less force like me doing it that way. And that's why I feel like it's really essential and important that we fight the good fight, information war for the Raptors and what is really true and about them and stuff like that. You may not like them or value them as much as we do, Gary and OG, but we really see the value. And in some ways, what we value them is more important than what Brooklyn values them or anybody else in the rest of the league, is because we're the ones that don't have to make a move. Brooklyn's the team that has to make a move. So what way we value them is the most important. Like, look, we'll do this with you for Kevin Durant, but we won't go any more over this. This is the deal. This is as it stands. You either take it or you leave it, and that's that. This is basically it. Monique saying, hey, Tom, thanks for your comment on Raptors Tangerine video. Awesome. Yeah, I'm always glad to see you guys interacting in different places and other places. Sue saw me on Rico Hines' post the other day and commented on me there and stuff like that. I love it. I love it. Tom Duke saying, you bet, Mo, you rock. Monique saying, hey, Lex, I'm bringing back the game day recaps. I think it depends on how busy I'm this season. We'll do them, please. Even if you get them out there late, Monique, whenever you do your write-ups about the games and stuff like that, I know maybe you'll do one today for the Summer League game. I'm pretty sure you will. I'll be looking for it tonight because it is always a good summary. Y'all, if you don't know Monique, go find her on Facebook. Put in Monique Superfan Lawrence and follow her on Facebook because she is one of the best information sources for Raptors news. And that after every single game they play, she does a summary where she goes over her observations from the game and just kind of puts stuff out there. And it's always something good in there. And sometimes I steal some of her ideas, but I try to give her credit on this channel because she does such a good job summarizing things and pointing out cool stuff from the game. Rahul saying the issue with centerpiece trade around Gary and OG. Gary's a free agent in a year. What is his potential? With OG, the main question, does he have another leap or if OG can stay healthy? OG's got another leap. He just does. And I'll be willing to have him on our team and get that leap from our team. That's part of it is like he's about to make a huge leap. And that's part of the reason why these guys are undervaluing him. They don't realize just how close OG is to being something totally different than he's been already. And that I see the signs and it's just about to happen. And this season may be the season that it happens. So that's part of the reason why people are undervaluing him. They don't totally realize how much he's going to blossom in the next year or two. And Gary, I think it's a similar thing. He's going to blossom even more also. And that's the thing. They don't understand the real potential of these guys to become like really top, kind of like one of the top 2 or 3 players on a team as far as what they produce and do for people. Monique saying, Chris Bouchard finally apologized. He had to. He really came down on him. I mean, he just looked like an idiot. He just really looked like an idiot. It was very xenophobic in some ways what he said. I'm a fun guy. Oh my gosh, one of the originals. We missed You fun guy. I know you've been watching, maybe not chiming in all the time, but I know you've been around here and there checking in. They sleep. We run all the way to the championship. That's exactly it. That is part of our plan. Go and tell them, T Green. Tell them that we're sleeping. We need to watch out. The Raptors are coming. Go and warn them. Just be a Paul Revere. Say the British are coming. The British are coming. Say the Canadians are coming. The Canadians are coming, because we will be coming. Nako is saying Otto Porter Jr. off the top of my head is better than any of the players KD attracted. I don't think Harden really counts, and Kyrie's professionalism with both the Celtics and Nets was toxic enough to be bad. Exactly. That's exactly what my point was earlier. Nako is actually putting it out there more explicitly. That, like, listen, I was so worried about this MLE because all these great players were getting taken and snatched away. We got the best possible one we could have got, and the one that I didn't even think was available. Otto Porter Jr. That man should have been in the Warriors jersey again for this season coming up, but he has switched teams and he's coming to the Raptors, and it has got such a Danny Green 2020 feel to it. That Danny Green won a championship with the Raptors in 2019, and he jumped ship and he ended up going to the Lakers. He got screwed over by Kawhi, taking so long to make his decision that it messed him up, and he had to take a deal with the Lakers at the last minute. Well, he messed around, and he got a repeat and won a championship with the Lakers the second year. That's what I hope happens with Otto Porter Jr. Let's make him a Danny Green over these 2 years. That he won a championship with Golden State, and now he's come here to win his another championship, his second championship with the Raptors this year. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. G saying the Raptors had 5 players averaging over 15 points per game last season, the most in the league. The bench was dead last in scoring, was the main problem with injuries. Exactly. Like, that's part of the problem, is that we don't have any superstars because we have so many guys that are contributing in so many different ways. And I feel like that's a strength in this league in a lot of ways. Sure, some people say, well, who's going to carry the water and be the really tough guy that scores the clutch baskets in the high pressure playoff situations like Kawhi would do? Well, we just got to see who's going to step up and take that mantle and run with it. And I'm telling you, the collective can be so much more powerful than the individual. That when you have a collective, a group of guys that are very talented, in some ways that trumps like 1 or 2 big superstars. When you have a bunch of stars, let's say they're all stars, but there's like 8 or 9 of them on a team, that's who the Raptors are. And that's why this is a lot. It's not easy to gauge how good we're going to be from the other side, because you guys don't, you look at rosters on paper and you think, oh, this is no good because there's no superstar, there's no big name. Well, we got a lot of huge names, like good names instead of superstar names. Now, what does that add up? And the whole thing of adding it all up, that's what you got to figure out, T Green. Nako the Nacho, come on, you got to be kidding me. No, we're not kidding you. This is not kidding you. Listen, these guys are knuckleheads. John Wall, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Ben Simmons. We called it the carousel of dysfunction. That basically in the States right now, these teams like Brooklyn and the Lakers, they have bad players on their team they don't want on their team. They're toxic. And they're just trying to switch them around. Like, they get shuffled around to a different team. Like, Harden went from Houston to Brooklyn to Philadelphia, and they're just shuffling problems around. We don't want to get in this carousel of negative problems and have our own problem. It's like you're just trying to shuffle a problem away when you have Russell Westbrook or Kyrie Irving. So yeah, sure, they're names. They're real talented. They're great. But how often do they win? And how much do they take away from their team and actually giving to their team? That's what I'll say. So yeah, their names, great. Woo, but Otto Porter is much better. And I will stand beside Nako the Nacho. He is not kidding you. That this is really like team building and winning is this way. It's not by just getting the flashiest names and building a team like you would on NBA 2K23 and trying to do that. By the way, Scotty Barnes playing it and testing it out at the summer league. This is cool. He's like, something big's happening. Him and Nick are out there and they're having a good time. And you know what it was? Scotty's getting to test NBA 2K23 ahead of everybody at Las Vegas Summer League. There's stuff on his Instagram today of him playing the game already. This man needs to be just he should have been on the cover of 2K23 instead of Devin Booker. I'm telling you, because this man is Mr. 2K. I'm serious. This man's always playing it, and he's all about it. And it's so fun to see Scotty enjoy himself in his video games. and stuff like that. I was playing NBA 2K12 last night. Yeah. When the internet was out, I went and got my old PlayStation 2 out, and I was playing 2K12, and I was playing with Jose Calderon and Andrea Bargnani on the Raptors and stuff like that, and torching teams. Bargnani's so fun to play on the game because he's pretty good in it. He can actually hit his shot. So it was pretty fun. Let's see. Sue's here. Good morning, Sue. Julian's here. Good to see Julian also. A listed team superstars don't want to join. Orlando, Indiana, Sacramento, Washington, Charlotte, and Minnesota. They act like Toronto is the only place superstars may not want to sign. Toronto isn't on that list, though. It really isn't. Like, seriously, Kevin gave the Brooklyn Nets a list of teams that are attractive to him, and Toronto was on the top of that list. Don't get yourself twisted. Anybody who thinks that Kevin Durant doesn't want to come here because of Chris Bouchard and what he was fucking saying, his dumbass shit, is wrong. Kevin wants to be here. Kevin understands that this team is close to winning a championship and that he would put us over the top. So this is a great, attractive place for him to be here. Anybody who thinks that it's not attractive to come to Toronto is stupid, and they're kidding themselves. That we are just as attractive as Miami. We're just as attractive as Golden State. We're just as attractive as Phoenix or any of these teams that are supposedly so attractive. In fact, we're more attractive than Brooklyn. We're more attractive than the Lakers in a lot of ways right now. The Lakers are not attractive to go play for right now. They're a dumpster fire. And Brooklyn's the same kind of thing. They're not attractive to go play for right now. So I think I would actually argue that the Raptors are a more attractive destination for players than Brooklyn or LA right now. How about that? Boom. Julian's saying they act like Toronto's the only place. Yeah, I don't get this. There's so many other teams that people don't want to play for. Do you think people want to really play for Oklahoma City? I mean, seriously, it's out in the middle of nowhere and stuff like that. T Green's saying I've erased some of my comments because I didn't want to muddy up your live with too many comments. I'm a fan of the Nets and like a trade with y'all instead of other teams, but I respect your platform. Okay, cool. All right, we learned a little bit more. Yeah, there's a lot of repetition on this stream just because I'm doing it live and I'm getting to comments and people will comment something I'm talking about and then I'll get to it like 5-10 minutes later. That's just the way it is here. It's no big deal. We don't mind it. And honestly, T Green, you're being so respectful and cool. I like this discourse and this is great because we've had Sixers fan here during the middle of the playoffs and we've had really good discussions about the series. We've had Golden State fan here at times, Phoenix fan, Milwaukee fan. They all jump in here. We had a Nets fan during the season that was coming in and talking with us at different times. They stopped coming after a certain point of the season, but listen, this is great. And if you enjoy my content, please subscribe. And you can get the insight on what's happening with the Raptors real easy here. Because I'll give it all away right here. It's not like we're trying to be Colonel Sanders with the secret recipe or anything. But I appreciate you not wanting to muddy up with too many comments and also coming forthright with which team you root for. Listen, you guys are in a little bit of a pickle. And I like that you guys have been proactive in making free agency moves this week and getting a couple of players just in case things don't go a certain way. But seriously, we have the leverage. Like, we don't have to make a deal with you guys. We can just sit and go into our season the way we plan. That Kevin is this thing with Kevin, if he's being for real and he really wants to leave y'all, he's put y'all in a bad place because like your leverage isn't that good because there's not many realistic trading partners for you guys that don't involve like 3 or 4 team trades. And that is not fun. Those can be really difficult to suss out when you have more than one team involved with you in a trade. So that's part of the reason why trading with us is the best for the Nets, is that you guys can do a one-on-one deal with us and that other teams you can't do that with. And this is the thing. Masai doesn't have to do this deal. We don't have to help Kevin get out of there. We don't have to help Brooklyn with the problem. So in some ways, it's really like, this is our deal. This is the best we'll do. And it's like, will you guys agree to it? And that's why I'm saying that's the deal that's out there for you guys from us. It's Gary, OG, and picks, and that's it. And that may be the best you guys get. And if Ayton signs with the Pacers today, that's going to hurt y'all even worse. That our deal may get worse as time goes on. And that, Sean Marks may be wishing that he took the first deal that Masai brought him as the time goes on, because it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse because you guys are going to be even more and more likely to keep him on the team with him. With you guys. So that's it. But I respect you respecting us and coming in here. And it's so great in this world with so much divisiveness, so much between people when people can actually meet and just be humans and civil and adults and not just like let it denigrate into just stupid shit, like immature shit. That this is good that we can talk and stuff like that. I'm a fun guy saying, I'm sorry, but Rosano guy is such a casual. He really wants us to give up Siakam in the trade. He thinks we 100% have to. No one else giving the player. Luca Rosano's saying that, fun guy. Oh my gosh, he hates Pascal. First of all, this is one thing you got to realize. Luca on the download doesn't like Pascal Siakam. He's never liked him. He dislikes him so much he won't even say his name correctly. He calls him Pascal or Pascal. He can't even fucking say his name correctly. So yeah, Luca. Honestly, that's why I try and watch Luca from time to time because I do enjoy his content. He means well and he's professional, but he does have biases that are really weird as a Raptor fan. And I don't understand why he's so down on Pascal and he's so adamant that he has to be a part of the deal for Kevin Durant. Yeah, he's an idiot. So I'm glad I'm not watching Luca right now. And I'm with you on this. Luca Rosano, come on. Just quit hating on Pascal. He's all NBA. He's an important part of our team. You don't value him enough. Shane's saying, T Green, your comments make sense now. You want Rap's best players because they better than anything else the Nets will get in return for Durant. Yeah, I mean, it does make more sense where he's coming from as far as he's a Nets fan, and that makes sense. And honestly, if I was listen, if I was Nets freak, like if I was the equivalent of me for Nets Nation, I would be doing things similar to T Green. I would be trying to say, yeah, you guys are overvaluing your dudes. We want, these guys aren't good enough for us. It's partly just an information war and perception of where you're standing and where you want to believe from your plays. Some of it is like you believe it will happen. So we have to believe, even if we sound crazy as Raptor fans, because it becomes more reality like 2019, if we are crazy. That's the way I look at it. But listen, I can't fault somebody for loving their team and wanting the best for them, Nets fan. And I'm with you on that. G saying, someone out OG and Wiggins stats side by side, and they were almost identical. I didn't verify it, so I can't say 100%. Also, OG was ranked the most versatile defender in the league a few seasons ago. There's a lot of unspoken things about OG. Listen, Nets fan, if you get OG Anunoby, you're going to get one of the best defenders in the league. And one of the things that's going to happen as soon as OG shows up in Brooklyn, if this trade happens, is he's going to start getting all these defensive accolades just because he's not on the Raptors. The dude probably should have already been on some all defensive teams for the NBA. And just because he's in Canada, he gets like not a spotlight on him. Well, that may be one of the added bonuses for them if they do get traded to Brooklyn, is that Gary Trent Jr. and OG Anunoby will get more exposure and maybe get more kudos finally, just because they play stateside. So, hey, good for them, but I still don't want to make the deal and stuff like that. But realize if you get OG Anunoby, you're going to be very, very happy to have him, Brooklyn Net fan. And same with Gary Trent. You'll have to be very happy to have these guys on your team. And if you're getting our draft picks also, that's the picks you're missing now. So that, listen, that's a good deal in some ways. But in some ways, I hate it because I don't want to give up the potential of OG and Gary in the next couple of years for Kevin, who's like hurt sometimes and stuff like that. So I'm a fun guy saying, yes, I always watch your videos after 100% smoke something and listen. Nice. Yes, I knew you were around still. I'm a fun guy. Even though you weren't commenting, we weren't here live, I knew you were around. I could feel your presence of being a fun guy. Let's see. He's also saying, weekends I'm here because I'm off work. Really love being here in chat too. Awesome. I'm so glad. And seriously, this is a dude who's been here since the very beginning. And listen, tomorrow, it's going to be my 300th stream in a row, 300 days straight of not missing a day. You tried me yesterday, Rogers, but I made it still. 300 days straight tomorrow, celebrating 300 Raptor Freak streams, 300 days in a row since last September, y'all. And we'll get a whole year in a row and stuff like that. And I'm a fun guy was there at the very beginning. He was one of the first names that I read out in the chat with Sue and Tom Duke and some of the other ones right at the beginning. I appreciate you, fun guy. T Green saying, Shane, I somewhat agree. I like Pascal or Barnes better than Ingram, Ayton, the Warriors package, or even the Celtics packages. A deal with y'all is what I would prefer, but we will see. Yeah. Well, we appreciate that compliment and stuff like that. That is very kind of you to say for sure. Scotty Barnes is undeniably like such an amazing prospect for the future and stuff like that. And that's why he is absolutely off the table. There's no possible way. This deal would have happened already if we were willing to deal Scotty Barnes. The Nets would have had him already and we would have Kevin Durant. But that's just not going to happen because we understand who Scotty is. And at this point, Scotty's such a young man and he's so taken to the Raptors. He is a Raptor that it would hurt him so bad, like in his heart, if he got traded. And we don't want to do that to a young man and like show him a jaded side to the NBA, like a side where he's like, oh, this sucks. It's like everything's this is a business. No, listen, we need to give him the family atmosphere that he's craved his whole life. That his life has been tumultuous at different times in his family, and that a stability in his situation with the Raptors is really important. And then Masai and Bobby probably took Scotty aside and said, listen, you're good. Don't worry. Don't even sweat this. Because as soon as all this Kevin Durant talk came up, Scotty got on Twitch and he was very happy and just, you could tell he felt loved. And that's how I took it is like, listen, Masai's took him off the table. There's no possible way he's going to be involved in the deal is because Scotty's not even sweating it. He's absolutely just living life. He's feeling jubilant and happy. And I bet you it's partly because he feels loved by the Raptors franchise, that he is protected from these trade talks and stuff like that. Ingram's a great piece. Like if you guys could get Ingram from the Pelicans, that'd be huge. That would kind of be like getting a younger Kevin Durant. In some ways, Ingram is very similar to Kevin Durant. And, New Orleans is very attractive. Out of those other teams, and we're talking about this seriously, T Green, I would say go with the Pelicans. I mean, Phoenix, if Ayton does do this thing with Indiana, they're not going to have very good pieces to send you guys. And, the Warriors package is stupid and silly anyway. Like, Kevin does not want to go back to Golden State. He's going to get so much grief from those fans there. They're not actually going to really cheer him. They're going to kind of treat him like a little bit of half of both and stuff like that. Celtics, whatever, go do a deal with the Celtics. I don't care. They've got different interesting pieces, but that would be weird. I don't know if I'd want to see Kevin in a green Celtics uniform. In fact, if you guys are going to trade him somewhere and it's not going to be us, go trade him to the Western. That'll do better for both of us. It'll do better for Brooklyn and it'll do better for Toronto. If you just trade him to Phoenix, that would, or New Orleans, because we don't want him in the Eastern Conference if he's not going to be on one of our teams, right? How about that, Brooklyn Nets fan? How about that? All right, let's see. Monique's saying, can just imagine the jersey sales for Coloco and RHJ, Ron Harper Jr., because the Filipino community connections and etc. Yeah, I think Ron Harper Jr. is already a fan favorite. He hasn't even played a single minute in a Raptors jersey. He will at 3:30 today. And it's partly because of his Filipino heritage and that Filipinos in Toronto are really ready to embrace him and stuff like that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And as a Brooklyn fan around New Jersey, you can tell the love and buzz around Ron Harper Jr. from Rutgers Nation, that he is really a favorite son in the state of New Jersey. That Ron Harper Jr. is getting a lot of the old Nets fans from the old New Jersey Nets are coming in, going to be in Raptors Nation this season because they love Ron Harper Jr. and his Rutgers legacy, and they want to see it translate into the NBA. And it doesn't hurt that the Raptors have red on their jersey, just like those red Rutgers jerseys and stuff like that. So it's going to be real fun to see the influx of new fans and Raptor fans from our new acquisitions like Coloco and Ron Harper. G saying, to Harden's credit, yeah, we got to give Harden some credit this summer. He took a big hit on his salary to help the team. Think he realized handicapping his teams don't help the collective. He's realizing it. Is the thing. These idiots from this generation, like LeBron and Kevin and Russell Westbrook and Kyrie and James Harden, they're realizing just how much their ego and who they were fucked up their chances to get more championships in their careers. And now they're in the twilights of their careers and they're just grasping to get those one last chance to get Larry O'Brien. And they're realizing how they fucked it up for themselves all this time. And they were like, holy crap. And James Harden, what he's doing now is the epitome of this, that he took a discount. And some fans are saying, why wouldn't you do this earlier in your career to help Houston? Or why wouldn't you do this earlier in your career with Oklahoma City or something like that? Well, it is what it is. And, people mature at different times in different places in their career, like LeBron staying hands off with the personnel moves with the team, or, Harden taking less money to allow better players on his team and stuff like that. I think it's hilarious. Once again, that James Harden, there's footage of him practicing this offseason with Sam Cassell, and he's teaching him how to board his own shot. This is how you offensive rebound, James Harden. Go watch that and see that that's exactly what Sam Cassell is teaching him. And then he's oh anyway, it's funny. Go see it in his tweet to Maxie about great practice today and stuff. Like that. It's like, oh, you know that he's usually at the strip club and that he's finally at the practice court in the off season. He's not going to show up this this season as a doughboy. Like James always shows up with that extra punch and that extra spare tire at the beginning of the season. He has to work himself into shape. Well, maybe this season he won't have it because he's actually taking it seriously for Philadelphia. So Sixer fans, you should feel really privileged and happy that James Harden's finally trying for your team. Sue's saying, honestly, I'm already done with the KD watch. I just want to keep our young guys and see how they develop. KD's an amazing player, but I don't want to give up our guys and all those picks for him. Yeah, I mean, we're all having fatigue on this. And the longer this gets drawn out, like it'll be good that Masai and Sean Marks can sit and talk together in Las Vegas and maybe they can figure this out and just get this over with. Because the more longer this gets drawn out, it's an annoyance to Raptor fans and the Raptors team and their players. And then it's really just kind of scrambling and scary for Nets Nation because the longer this gets dragged out, the possibility that nothing happens and that they just keep him and they run it back with their team. And I'm sure Nets fan in some ways is happy with that because they do want to still see Kevin Durant in a Brooklyn jersey. But in some ways, that's also the possibility of very negative toxicity for the season because people aren't getting what they wanted and they have to stick around. And we have to also remember the enigma that Ben Simmons is going to be a factor in the whole chemistry equation for the Nets this season. And we have no idea what Mr. Arthur and the Orange Creamsicle at the playoffs standing there looking all weird is going to do with their team. So Ben Simmons is a whole other weird dumpster fire that's going to be very interesting. Yeah, G's saying it. Having Ben Simmons has also limited some trades due to rookie extension rules. Exactly. The Ben Simmons thing is what's hamstringing the Nets from being able to deal with the Suns straight up. Or Miami straight up. There's rules with this contract about trading, but we're the Raptors because the way we've handled our personnel with contracts, we have the flexibility to be able to do a one-on-one trade with Brooklyn. And that's part of the reason why we have leverage with them is that we are their best option for making a trade, not only because of our assets, but because of the ease of making the deal with Toronto is very different. So that's why we're lurking, as ESPN saying, we're lurking because we have the best ability to make the deal with them. So Monique's saying it sickens me to hear Stephen A. Smith comment about he doesn't want to see us win another championship. Get out of here. I know they really don't. And that's part of the reason why Chris Broussard said what he does. And like people say what they do about the Raptors is because they want to deny that we have a chance or ability to do it because they don't want to ever see that nightmare happen to them again. The Raptors winning a championship was a nightmare to some people in the United States. And some of them are just xenophobes like Chris Bouchard. Some of them are just like hate Canada or they hate Toronto or, whatever the reason is that they didn't like the Raptors winning a championship. I know that some people don't want the Raptors to win a championship again is because it's good for the economy of Canada and that money should be going to a city in the U.S. and that people think about it on that kind of level as far as countries and economic GDP. That the Raptors winning a championship in 2019 was an economic booster for the city of Toronto and Canada as a whole. So we win another championship, that's more money coming into Canada, and the U.S. doesn't necessarily want that. So that's part of the forces that puts us down and tries to make it sound like we don't have a chance or that we'll never win another championship in our entire lives. Okay, go ahead and put that money down on that. We'll see how long it takes for us to collect your money when we get the second Larry O'Brien. Oh, yeah. T. Green saying the leverage actually is good because of the 4-year deal, and nobody believes he will sit out. If the Nets don't like the package, they will keep him, and he will play his best for legacy's sake. Yeah. I mean, the clock's ticking for Kevin. Either way, he just wants to try and win as badly as possible. Steph Curry just won a championship without him. And that says a lot, and that puts pressure on him that he needs to win without Steph because he can't say that he has done that. He hasn't won anywhere else but with Steph. So Kevin has a lot to prove. And part of the reason why he wants to leave Brooklyn is he doesn't feel like they're anywhere near close to winning a championship. That last season, with the way they went out against Boston, showed that. And that's why he's saying he wants a trade, is he wants to go get a Larry O'Brien. And, if he does stay and he runs it back with you guys, that's great. And he should fulfill his contract and be good and do all that kind of stuff. But that's the way it looks like. I think that's what's going to happen. that it's going to end up that Kevin's going to be a net again this season, and he's going to continue to play for you guys, because I don't think we're going to meet you guys with what you want for him. I just don't think it's going to happen. That it might have already happened if we were going to, and I don't think we're going to get any closer, because our guys are smart. They understand that you guys are in a bad place and that we can fleece you. And we're going to try to, because that's what we do. Masai Ujiri fleeces other teams in trades. And if you don't come with the right fleecing package, we will fleece. We want to fleece you. And if you don't let us fleece you, then we're not going to do anything with you. So it's kind of that way. T Green saying, now with that being said, the Nets will absolutely not do a deal without either Barnes or Siakam. Since y'all are super attached to Barnes, what about Pascal, OG, Gary, and picks for Durant and Curry? Well, first of all, we wouldn't give up 3 guys. We're going to only do 2 for 1. So maybe Pascal and Gary, but I wouldn't put OG in that deal also. I'm not going to give up Pascal and OG. It's going to have to be, and I wouldn't even do this, honestly. I don't think Pascal, like, look at it this way. All right, all signs are pointing to that we're really doubly invested in Pascal. And I'll tell you why. We just drafted Christian Koloko. He's from the same city in Cameroon that Pascal is. That if we didn't think we are going to have Pascal on our team, why would we pick a guy, a young kid from his own country, his own city, to play along next side of him? And then on top of that, we hired Earl Watson as an assistant coach in recent years, partly for Pascal. Well, now we doubled down on hiring coaches for Pascal and Rico Hines. The Rico Hines coming to Toronto solely is specifically because of his connection with Pascal Siakam. So why would we be trading Pascal at this point? I don't think that the writing's on the wall. That we got Koloko, we got Rico Hines. These are Pascal people. And that Pascal is getting more of what he likes around him. Like, we're giving him guys and personnel around him to show that we love and appreciate, and we really want him here. So don't hold your breath on Pascal or Scotty being involved in it. And that may be part of the reason why the Nets are not taking our deal, is because we won't put those 2 in the deal. So it's that kind of thing. And so we really covet Scotty. Pascal is like a son to Masai Ujiri. So, and OG is too, but it's like, OG is a little bit more of a bargaining piece. We're definitely not going to give up 3 players, because that is getting close to gutting our team for Kevin. We've said this a couple times this week. I think Monique said it, or somebody else said, you guys will only get 2 of our good players. You won't get 3. So G saying, also Gary was top 6 in steals in the league. At one point, he was number 1. That's right. They're devaluing Gary being a 2-way player at this point. Like, he's a fantastic defensive player. All of a sudden, in 1.5 years with the Raptors, he did not show this in Portland, that we brought this out of him, and that he has more value than just being traded for Norman Powell like we did when we got him. That we've increased his value in the 1.5 years that he's been on the Raptors. And that needs to be factored into it and stuff like that. Tom Duke's saying, woo, 300, stopwatch, party time. Oh, yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. We'll have a party. I don't know. We'll do a Sunday report. I'm not sure exactly what it'll be on, but maybe it'll be on the stream and 300 streams. Thank you, Monique. Congratulations on 300. Yeah, it'll be tomorrow. I did it all the math. I know it says 300 in my archive, but there's that one clip of Scotty Barnes on Twitch saying my shout out to the Raptor Freak. And that clip doesn't count as a live stream. So that's why tomorrow is actually 300. So G saying they just brought in Rico, whom is Pascal's trainer, and KD trains with him. Pascal's staying, in my opinion. That's interesting. You say that KD trains with him also. That could be a sign also that this has already kind of been figured out. That Kevin may be coming here also. And that's why Rico's coming here, is that he wants to be a part of what's happening with this and stuff like that. That's very interesting. Tom saying, I'm having a hissy fit if Pascal is traded. Yeah, I'm agreeing with this. Can't lose Pascal, Sue's saying. Monique saying, let's go Ron Harper Jr., let's go Raptors. I'm a fun guy saying, I'm so excited to watch Koloko, and I'm with you. All right, we're just at about almost 2 hours. Sue can't wait to see the game today. 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, Raptors and Philadelphia 76ers Summer League, Cox Pavilion, Las Vegas, Nevada. Yes, and all the dudes are there. The whole fucking team is in Las Vegas right now. Like, all of the Raptors are there. They did this last season also. Is every single one of them. I don't care. You name a Raptor, they are in Las Vegas right now, and they're all hanging out, and they're being buddies with each other. The nucleus is so strong. The camaraderie is so strong on this team. Fred, Pascal, Gary, Precious, Scotty, Chris, They're all in Las Vegas right now, having a good time, having their off season. And it's kind of fun for the vets that aren't playing in summer league to come there. I'm sure that there's behind the scenes practices where the whole team is out there with the summer league team and they're all playing together. Like these young guys get to see Scotty Barnes and Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet play with them in practice a bit. There may be some sort of that going on. There's also the palling around in Vegas, like partying and just having good times at restaurants, having nice dinners, hanging around, seeing other players from other teams and being palling around with them. Like LeBron's there and Russell Westbrook and other teams, big players are there also. It's just such a scene. It's such a thing, summer league. And I'm really happy that all of our Raptors are invested in our team and they are there to watch and cheer on the young guys like other vets on other teams also. So it's just fun. It's summer league is such a great time, and I'm so glad we get to watch them play today. Let's see. Shane saying, "Let's go Raptors, y'all! Happy Saturday!" Yeah, yeah. And Gary Trent Jr. once again sharing the love for Gary Trent Jr., a young man who has a potential unfulfilled completely. That if he can get more consistent with his offense night in, night out, not such a streak shooter, hot or cold, it really is feast or famine with him sometimes. We get a real feast. And sometimes there's just not enough. But I think he can strike a more middle in the middle kind of place, but still have the potential to expand his ceiling even higher. That if he can get a little bit more consistent night in, night out, and not have any of these nights where he just disappears offensively, that'll be badass. But we love you, Gary. Like you're such a cool dude. Like honestly, there's so many people out there that probably look to you as a style icon. We just love your swagger. I love the way you carry yourself. You're a little bit of an edge that the Raptors need more of on the team as far as like having that baller kind of edge. Like, listen, I'm gonna come at you. Like the way you stood up to Patrick Beverly last season was badass, and different other things that you did during the year. Like you stood up against the Lakers at one point, all kinds of stuff. I'm expecting a 50-point game from you, Gary Trent Jr. You go get it. And once again, I appreciate you so much. I appreciate your roots with our team, with the legacy of you playing for the Raptors, just like your father did before you, Gary Trent Sr. And there's just so many things to like about you. Your friendship with King Bolton, you being an older brother to your little brothers, and the way you carry yourself as an example, and just so many other things. You are a true jet setter, GQ badass, Gary Trent Jr. And we love you. And if you get traded, we're gonna be heartbroken. We're gonna be sad, and we're gonna be sad to say goodbye to you. But this is a reality of the business. And if you don't get traded, hallelujah. That would be so fantastic and awesome too, because we want you to get these gains in a Raptor uniform because I know you're going to get them. You're going to get better and better and better, and we would like it to be in a Raptor red. So that's what we're saying. I'm a fun guy saying, would be willing to throw in Achua to Gary and OG just to guarantee Durant? Would I? No, that's way too much. In fact, let's not even start bringing Precious's name into the trade talks. We haven't heard his name in the Kevin Durant trade talks at all. And I'd like to keep it that way. Because, like, listen, the more of these names we sully and we just do the carousel, well, what about Fred? What about Chris? I don't want to do that to all of them. In fact, that's part of the toxicity of the Kevin Durant situation that I hate, is that more names get pulled into it. And Precious has not been named in any kind of way in this. And let's just keep him out of it because he's a badass prospect for what he's got coming up. Stuff like that. Gary Trent is only 23. Holy crap, Monique. Bringing in that realistic too. That's way too much, fun guy. Like maybe we would trade him OG and Precious. That may be the best deal that you could get from us, Brooklyn, is Precious and OG and some picks. And it'd be even less picks than with Gary. Because Precious, in some ways, I value him more than Gary Trent Jr. in some ways. I love you, Gary, still, but I'm just saying Precious in some ways has some sort of upside that's even more different and stuff like that. All right, guys, just going to wrap it up for this Saturday Share Love Club. Gary Trent Jr., we love you, Gary. We want you here in Toronto. We are happy that you like it here in Toronto, and we want to keep you here as fans. Don't get it twisted. Some of these fans are throwing you under the bus and saying, too easy to put you in this deal. But a huge part of the Raptors fans really value and love you a lot. And that whatever happens this summer, we hate to see you go, but we really want to see you in a Raptor jersey next season so we can enjoy your great offensive play that way. Yeah. Let's see. Fun guy saying, wow, that's the first I've heard. That's kind of good. OG and Precious. That is a pretty good deal for Brooklyn. Like I think T Green would be happy getting OG and Precious going the other way for Kevin, but let's not talk about this. Nobody's talking about Precious in the Kevin Durant trades, so we don't want to talk about him at all. All right, y'all. Thanks again. Let's go Raptors. Let's beat the Sixers today, 3:30 p.m. Let's watch the game, and we'll react to it tomorrow, and we'll have the Sunday Share Love. The Sunday report, 300th episode live stream of my live stream tomorrow. So I appreciate everybody. Please hit that subscribe button. I appreciate you being here today, T Green. It's always good to get perspectives from other fan bases and to interact and just do it civilly. It's awesome. So, yeah, let's go Raps, Joseph Starks. Yeah, let's have a good day, y'all. Enjoy your day out there, but get back inside for 3:30. Touch that grass, as Scotty Barnes says, but get back inside for 3:30 because the Raptors are playing today. And oh man, that makes a Raptor freak smile so wide. All right, have a great day, everybody. See you tomorrow. All the best. Let's go Raptors. Beat the Sixers. Beat the Sixers. Beat the Sixers.